If you guessed that a strawberry is a berry, you've been living a lie. I know, it's crazy. Welcome to the explainer. Right off the bat, we're going to completely shatter some of your deepest preconceived notions about reality. Seriously, what if I told you there are facts out there so wild, so completely counterintuitive, that they sound 100% made up? Well, you might want to strap in, because today we are looking at 15 mind-blowing truths that are absolutely real. We'll be taking a journey from the microscopic realities of your own body all the way out to the vast, terrifying expanses of the cosmos. So let's start with something that seems like total common sense. Are strawberries actually berries? I mean, it's literally right there in the name, right? It seems incredibly obvious. Go ahead, lock in your guess. If someone asked you to draw a berry, you'd almost certainly draw a strawberry. Well, let's dive into this. If you guessed that a strawberry is a berry, you've been living a lie. I know, it's crazy. According to botanical science, a true berry actually has to develop from a single flower with one ovary. And surprisingly, bananas meet this strict botanical requirement. Yep, that long yellow fruit you peel, scientifically, it's a berry. Meanwhile, the poor strawberry, despite its completely deceptive name, doesn't meet these requirements at all. Section 1. The Human Machine. Let's look at some rapid-fire stats about the biological hardware you're using right this very second. First up, your brain. It makes up only about 2% of your total body weight, yet it hogs around 20% of your body's energy. It's just a wildly demanding engine up there. Next, your nose. You might not think you have the best sense of smell, but the human nose is actually capable of recognizing over 1 trillion different scents. 1 trillion. And finally, bones. You might assume your skeleton is a fixed structure, but babies are actually born with around 270 bones. As we grow up, a bunch of these fuse together, leaving human adults with just 206. Speaking of the intense environment inside your body, here is a terrifying yet absolutely fascinating biological necessity. Your stomach gets a completely new lining every few days. Why? Well, because the acid in your stomach is so incredibly strong that if your body didn't constantly replace this protective shield, your stomach would literally digest itself. You are constantly rebuilding yourself from the inside out just to survive your own digestion. How wild is that? But you know, the human body has a slightly more magical side too. We are quite literally glowing beings. Seriously, humans naturally emit a faint glow in the dark. We're bioluminescent. The catch? The light we give off is just too weak for our own eyes to pick up. But make no mistake, you are constantly radiating a tiny amount of visible light. From the intimate machinery of our bodies, we zoom out to the alien landscapes of our very own planet. I absolutely love this quote because it perfectly sets the stage for where we're heading next. We like to think we totally understand the world outside our windows, but as we'll see, nature plays by some incredibly strange rules. Section 2. Wonders of the Wilds. Take the life cycle of the aptly named immortal jellyfish. Instead of a normal life cycle that ends in death from old age, this creature hits step 1, reaching its adult stage, and then, whenever it's threatened or aging, it initiates step 2. It just reverts right back to its younger polyp stage. It essentially hits the reset button on its own life, completely refusing to age normally. No way, right? 3. That is the number of hearts an octopus possesses. 1, 2, 3. 2 of these hearts are dedicated solely to pumping blood to the creature's gills, while the third, main heart, pumps blood through the rest of its body. But here's the wildest part. When an octopus swims, that main third heart temporarily stops beating entirely. Now let's look upward for a second. 1 million pounds. When you look up at a fluffy white cloud effortlessly drifting across a summer sky, you're actually looking at immense weight. Because of the sheer volume of water droplets contained within it, a single cloud can weigh more than 1 million pounds. It floats not because it's light, but because that massive weight is spread out over an enormous area of warmer air. Section 3. Illusions of Time. Okay, here is another challenge for you. Which is older, sharks or trees? Intuitively, you might think of ancient, primordial forests covering the early Earth, long before complex predators ruled the oceans. What does your gut tell you here? Well, it turns out our intuition is completely backwards on this. Sharks have existed on this planet for over 400 million years. The first trees didn't even appear on land until around 350 million years ago. That means sharks were already swimming through the Earth's ancient oceans for 50 million years before the very first tree ever took root. Just let that sink in for a second. And this brilliantly illustrates just how compressed our view of human history really is. We tend to lump all of ancient Egypt together in our heads. But the Great Pyramid of Giza was built so incredibly long ago that Cleopatra, the famous Egyptian queen, actually lived closer in time to the 1969 Apollo moon landing than she did to the construction of the pyramids. Here is one more time-bending juxtaposition to really mess with your historical map. Oxford University is actually older than the Aztec Empire. We always think of the Aztecs as this ancient, distant civilization and Oxford as a pillar of the modern academic world. Yet teaching existed at Oxford in some form before the legendary Mesoamerican Empire was even founded. Section 4, the cosmic scale. Let's talk about planetary physics, specifically over on our neighbor Venus. A day is defined by a planet spinning once on its axis, right? And a year is defined by its orbit around the sun. Well, Venus rotates so incredibly slowly that a single day on Venus actually lasts longer than its entire year. It literally finishes a full lap around the sun before it even manages to spin around once. Amidst all the swirling planets, exploding stars, and just generally violent cosmic events, there is one truly chilling reality. Space is completely silent. Sound relies on a medium, like air or water, to travel in waves, and out there in the vacuum of space, there is simply no air to carry sound. It is a realm of absolute, terrifying, and awe-inspiring quiet. But please don't mistake that silence for a lack of intensity. Consider the neutron star, which is the collapsed core of a massive supergiant star. The density here is so extreme that just 1 teaspoon of its material would weigh billions of tons here on Earth. Billions! And they can get even more massive over time. You see, many neutron stars exist in binary systems, meaning they orbit right alongside a normal star. Their gravity is so immense that they'll actually siphon off, or accrete, gas from their companion star. As they literally steal this matter and gain mass, they start to spin wildly faster and faster, occasionally pushing themselves completely past their physical limits and collapsing entirely into a black hole. It's cosmic theft on an unimaginable scale. So let's see how this builds a picture of our own local neighborhood in space. We humans really like to think of Earth as a pretty significant place, right? Well, the sun contains approximately 99.8% of all the mass in our entire solar system. Everything else, Jupiter, Saturn, Earth, all the moons, all the asteroids, amounts to just that tiny 0.2% sliver. Talk about visually crushing our planetary ego. As we wrap up this journey, from the microscopic cells of our stomach lining all the way out to the massive, silent weight of the stars, I want to leave you with this thought. Facts so unbelievable they sound completely made up, but every one of them is real. We've seen today that reality is far, far stranger than any fiction we could ever invent. So, I turn it over to you. Which fact shocked you the most today? Was it the immortal jellyfish endlessly resetting its life? The octopus swimming with 3 hearts? Or maybe the realization that ancient sharks were navigating the oceans long before trees even existed? Take a moment to reflect on just how wonderfully bizarre our universe is. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning everything you think you know.